Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC Mura here, and in today's video we're gonna talk about a topic that I find to be very interesting. It's a question that was asked over on my Discord by Ashi, and the question was, is it possible to hit Diamond, obviously in Street Fighter 5, without any knowledge of fighting games, no online videos, and no external factors teaching you the game? He's talking about you just playing the game and figuring stuff out on your own, starting from completely point blank. And I find this to be very interesting because I kinda think fighting games come in two different types. There are games that you can play by feel, right? So for example, a lot of the old school fighting game players, they're not really caring about frame data and having the perfect setups and knowing exactly what is safe and exactly what's unsafe and how do you punish this with that. And you will find this very prevalent, I think, in Tekken, because it's one of these games that you can really play by feel. And there are other games where you will need the knowledge, and Street Fighter 5, in my opinion, is one of these games where knowledge is a very powerful tool. And this is probably one of the reasons a lot of players from Street Fighter 4, which had a bit more room to play by feel, kinda found it difficult to get good at Street Fighter 5 because you do need to study up in Street Fighter 5. So the question here is, can you actually make it to Diamond? Which I think is actually quite the challenging order, right? Because a lot of players have the knowledge and they still can't make it to Diamond. So starting without any knowledge whatsoever and no help, I will say it's a very faint yes, but it highly depends on the character that you play and the personality of you as a player. And let me explain what I mean. Obviously, the things that you will need knowledge to do in Street Fighter 5 are numerous. Like, maybe you will get that you can hold back to block, and maybe you will learn how to break throws on your own. I think these two are fine, right? But let's assume that you have zero knowledge, right? You will not even know your basic frame traps. So for example, if you're using, like, say, Ryu, right, you won't know that standing medium punch into standing medium is a frame trap, or crouching medium punch into standing medium punch. So the basics of your pressure structure will be lost on you, right? And you will not know which anti-air to use. So obviously in Street Fighter 5, the DPs, they have different invulnerabilities, right? So the light DP, at least for Ryu, is a throw immune DP, while the medium punch DP is the anti-air, and the heavy punch have a projectile and strike invincibility, but from frame 3. So you might find it difficult, and that is even us assuming that you will instinctively know that the DP is your supposed or go-to anti-air, right? Maybe you would resort to something like crouching heavy punch, and that can work, but again, you kinda have to put two and two together, and then the list will go on and on and on, right? Like, you will have no idea about fireball traps. Maybe for some characters, the game plan can be pretty obvious and you can piece it together, right? So for example, a character like Zangief, I think it's very obvious that you want to get close to the opponent and then go for the command grab, right? That seems to be kind of obvious. But then there are other characters where it might not be quite that obvious what you need to do with them to win. For example, one of the most, I think, apparent one is Akuma, right? Because Akuma can play a little bit of zoning, he can play a little bit of rushdown, he does have decent whiff punishment, he does have a fireball game, so you can get stuck into a mindset of Akuma is a rushdown character, and you will try to go in all the time, but that doesn't really work for a character like him. So the character that you will pick, I think you need a character that is very straightforward and very effective at what they do, and maybe then that might work. But even then, let's say that you pick the most straightforward character in the game, which is probably, say, Cammy, right? You pick Cammy, but you will not know like how to use a dive kick, the fact that they can be spaced to be plus, the fact that they have different angles, your pressure structure, tick throws, shimmies, basic frame traps, all of that will be lost on you. And we're not even talking about optimal combos, right? Or knowing like exactly how to convert from each button, because I think the combo structure in general in Street Fighter 5 is kinda confusing to some, because there are cancels, there are links, there are chains, so things can be a little bit overwhelming. I think a good portion of us kind of oversimplify the amount of knowledge that you need to have to be really good at fighting games. Obviously, all of us are online, right? So we already know about frame traps, we know about anti-airs, we know about basic combos, we know like what is kinda safe and what's kinda unsafe. But if you're going in completely blind, it can be difficult. And all of this, I think, is hard to figure out on your own. The game does have some training mode features. Maybe you will check out demonstrations, maybe the trials can actually be a good help to you here, but I mean, even then, like when you really think about it, the trials have like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, they change depending on the season, and because of this you might not know what is up to date and what is delayed. That can be somewhat hard to figure out. And all of that, and we haven't even talked about the different matchups, because the game now have like I think 45 characters at the moment. With Luke I think there are 45, so I mean, even with us knowing what to do and online and all of that, it's very hard to have the knowledge on all of the characters, what's safe, what's unsafe, and their general game plan, what you need to do against them. So imagine going in completely blind. I think for you to succeed at this, you will need to have a very powerful gimmick, right? And you will need to have a character that can be played in a one-dimensional way but is very powerful, and have really good luck with the opponent and have a ton of time, and maybe then you can make it. Honestly, I think the best that you can get if you're going in completely blind, that I will say is a reasonable ask given that you will have zero outside help, is maybe get gold with some characters. But let's say for example that you're someone who's trying to play Chun-Li, you have zero knowledge, zero anything, and you want to get diamond. I don't see that happening. And obviously the person here is very important as well, because you need to be very good at analyzing and replaying your footage and, you know, kind of breaking down the situation. Not everyone has the patience, or I will say I don't know how to say it, like in Italian they call it the grinta, like the will, the spirit to keep fighting despite being knocked out so many times, because you will lose so much more than you're gonna win if you are taking this approach. I think it is what they used to do back in the day, I guess, but even then, honestly, even before online, because I'm someone who have been playing for 10 plus years, I used to ask other players like what do you need to do, and they would tell me, so I never really thought about going in completely blind. Yes, we all know that even if you're watching like helpful videos, it can be hard to absorb that knowledge unless you practice it yourself. But still, even knowing that the principle exists, like if I say that if I talk about whiff punishing, right? If you're someone who's completely brand new and have no idea what I'm talking about, that's gonna be hard. But let's say that you are someone who watched a video about whiff punish. Yes, you didn't practice it yourself, but you're aware of the concept. Now you know about it, right? And that's gonna make it easier, a lot easier in fact, for you to try it out for yourself and try to get better at it. So I think we can all take what we have now for granted. Obviously the communication and a ton of platforms to learn the games, and I think that have made the overall gameplay level a lot higher. A person going in completely blind, I think would be very difficult to deal with all of that. Let me know your thoughts. Can you go in completely blind in Street Fighter V, no knowledge of fighting games, no online videos and no external help, and get to Diamond? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment below. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.